Now at noon, executive visit. The president lands in central New York and begins making the rounds. And Dog Day decision. An Oneida County Court judge rules on whether or not a local dog should be put to death after biting its owner's granddaughter in the face.
Where the news comes first. This is News Channel 2 at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Dave Dellecese. In March, Jack the Sheltie dog bit his owner's 2-year-old granddaughter in the face. 4 days later, a New Hartford Town Court justice ruled that the dog be put to death. However, the owners appealed the decision, and today, the decision that they've been waiting for. It's your top story on this Thursday afternoon, and News Channel 2's Jolene Ferris has the details live from the newsroom. Jolene.
Thank you, Dave. The judge did not affirm the lower court's euthanasia order, meaning that Jack the Sheltie has escaped his death sentence for biting his owner's 2-year-old grandchild in the face. In his decision, Oneida County Court Judge Michael Dwyer says he received hundreds of letters and emails from people claiming to know the facts of what had occurred and that the amount of misinformation out there was disturbing. The judge found that there was evidence at that lower court hearing back in April to support that Jack was a dangerous dog. The child had 12 puncture wounds to her face as a result of the bite. The court viewed the child's face 4 months after the attack and was able to determine that the scars were still visible and would require plastic surgery in order to be diminished or eliminated. However, Judge Dwyer also found that while a finding could be made today that the dog caused serious physical injury, it could not have been made 4 days after the attack, and without a finding of serious physical injury at the time of that hearing, the euthanasia order cannot be affirmed. And at the time of the hearing, back in April, there was no medical testimony offered as to the protracted disfigurement caused to the child. Now, the judge has ordered Stephen Swan Humane Society to turn over Jack to his new owner, whom the court has interviewed this Saturday. The owner's given the court adequate assurance that the dog will not be around any children under the age of 12, and also the dog cannot be transferred to another owner without the court's prior knowledge and consent. And of course, we'll have much more on the judge's decision on the Live at 5 News Hour and News Channel 2 at 6. But back to you for now.
All right, Jolene Ferris reporting from the newsroom. Thank you, Jolene. Meanwhile, a local teacher has been charged and accused of having an inappropriate sexual relationship with a former student. According to Village of Frankfort Police, Michael Liacano, a 7th grade English teacher at Frankfort Schuyler Central School, is now charged with forcible touching and endangering the welfare of a child. Police say that the child was under the age of 17. The school superintendent says that Liacano is currently on leave from his position. Superintendent Robert Rena released the following statement, quote, "We do not have any information that would indicate that any other current or former students are involved in the matter. The district has not yet been provided with all of the specifics of the criminal charges and cannot comment further at this time." Now, Rena goes on to say that the district will take the necessary steps to respect the teachers' rights while at the same time taking all prudent steps to ensure the welfare and safety of their students. You can find the full statement from the superintendent at our website, WKTV.com. Police in the city of Utica have caught up with the man who was suspected of trying to abduct a child in a local playground. After several interviews, though, police say that no criminal activity took place in the Tuesday incident. Police were told that a man in a white pickup truck tried to lure a 5-year-old into his vehicle. Now authorities are saying that the suspect told them that he was just trying to tell the children to leave an apple tree alone. Some residents in West Utica say that when the sun goes down, the guns come out on an otherwise quiet dead-end street. It's a problem that escalated since the recent murder of a man around the corner on Whitesboro Street. And Utica police have been there a lot in recent days. The people are tax-paying homeowners who live in their properties on Brayton Park Place, but they feel like prisoners within their own homes. Army veteran Dorothy Barker did a combat tour in Afghanistan and 2 tours in Somalia, and she feels like she's still in a war zone here in upstate New York. She's outfitted her Brayton Park Place home with several cameras to capture the violence she says is out of control on the quiet-by-day street. The camera recently captured a large crowd on the street, which quickly scatters once a man in a black shirt pulls something out of his waistband. She says a gun. Barker said she is not afraid to fight the good fight, but sometimes she says she feels as though she is fighting a losing battle.
Everyone says, protect Utica, bring it back, give back to Utica. What are we giving back to? If the kids can't even go outside and play in the yard because guns are being fired and bullets are flying.
Barker says neighbors constantly call police and that police are constantly responding to the street for gun violence and out-of-control crowds. We spoke with Utica police who say they're aware of the problem and responding when called, but that long-term solutions will take time. One local furniture store is giving back in a big way to local flood victims. Raymore and Flanagan is handing out $20,000 worth of gift cards to those with the greatest needs. Store reps handed over 200 gift cards valued at $100 each to Catholic Charities this morning to be distributed not just in Oneida County, but in all 4 counties hit hard by the flood of 2013. The cards will go to the people who have been struggling to get back into their homes.
We really hope that this provides support, an opportunity for hope for some of these folks, as we've heard some of the folks that have really been devastated by the floods. And we hope that it helps put some peace of mind for them to help them get back on their feet sooner.
The giving does not end there. On September 7th and 8th, Raymore and Flanagan's Utica location will hold a food drive, bring a non-perishable food donation, and get a 12% discount on any furniture purchases. There will also be a barbecue during the food drive. Officials want you to know that there are new guidelines for star exemptions registration, which will take place August 19th through December 31st. And the new legislation requires all homeowners receiving a basic star exemption to register with the state tax department in order to receive the exemption in 2014 and any subsequent years. This is part of a new initiative to protect New Yorkers against inappropriate or fraudulent star exemptions. Senior citizens receiving the enhanced star exemption are not affected by the new registration requirement. You can register through the tax department's website. We've linked you there via our website, WKTV.com. President Barack Obama is launching a 2-day bus tour through New York and Pennsylvania to promote proposals for making college more affordable. This is footage of him speaking at the University of Buffalo just a little while ago. From Buffalo, the president will head to Syracuse with a stop at Henniger High School. News Channel 2's Anna Myler will be covering the president's visit to Central New York, and will have full coverage with live reports on the Live at 5 News Hour and News Channel 2 at 6. Taking a look around America this afternoon, some amazing video out of Louisiana. A massive sinkhole was caught on camera swallowing trees. If you take a look at this video shot by officials in Assumption Parish, Louisiana on Wednesday, the sinkhole formed last August, but there have been several reoccurrences of activity since, known as burps. The sinkhole has continued to grow in size since forming a year ago, and it is amazing. It just swallows up those entirely large trees. Well, time now for a first look at the weather. A man who's not about to get swallowed up by the weather, Mr. Bill Kardas.
Yeah, at least not lately. Maybe in 6 months. Let's take a look outside. We are looking at dry weather across the area. Nice day, feeling a lot like summer outside. However, a cold front not that far away is knocking on our doorsteps, and that's going to provide for some relief from the humidity that we're experiencing out there right now. Looking further to the north and west, you can see that front across the border. That will be here between about 4 to 5 p.m. That's when I'm expecting the start time of that rain and thunderstorms to arrive. I'm not expecting severe weather with this line. Most of this will be non-severe, but it's possible a couple of storms produce some gusty winds, and it's still possible that a storm or two could get on the stronger side. We'll keep an eye on that, but again, I'm expecting mainly just some heavy rain, some thunder and lightning out of that. Live look outside, a little bit of cloud cover. That's Consumer Square, New Hartford. 82, the current temperature. It's humid. Skywatcher's already up to 85 over in Herkimer. Curtis Corner's at 78. Forecast for today, temperatures in the mid-80s for the next couple of hours. A round of some showers and storms. And then it turns a little bit less humid here by later today. I'll look at the 7-day forecast coming up. Dave, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Bill. We have a lot more ahead on News Channel 2 at noon, including it's fair time. You know, summer's almost to an end when the New York State Fair kicks off for another year. Plus, a bridge to cross. More issues in Forestport when it comes to the Twin Bridges project.
You're watching News Channel 2 at noon with Dave Dellecese and Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Bill Kardas. News Channel 2, where the news comes first. Listen to News Channel 2 at sunrise, noon, and the Live at 5 News Hour on 100.7 FM, WUTQ.
We're back, and today marks the kickoff of the great New York State Fair. You know that summer is close to an end when fair time rolls around once again. Yesterday, the butter sculpture was unveiled with the theme of getting fresh with local dairy. It features icons from around the state, such as the Statue of Liberty in the form of a cow. Between the rides, the food, the agriculture, and the exhibits, there is plenty to see and do at the fair. We sent our own Gary Libertor to the fair, and he'll be back with plenty of fun for 5 and 6 tonight. The Forestport Town Board met last night to discuss the issues of the Twin Bridges project, specifically the guardrails on the newly reconstructed historic bridges. The town's highway superintendent says old guardrails have been pulled down. That means the bridge cannot be crossed right now. Residents were hoping to have the project completed in time for the Forestport birthday celebration that's taking place this weekend.
Well, what we'd like to see naturally is for people to use those twin bridges to come into the village, see the falls, and experience the village of Forestport, and bring some commerce into a village that's been a dead end for 4 years. And we'd like to do it before the season is before Labor Day. Get people used to thinking about coming and driving across the twin bridges.
He says that the board seems to be trying to do everything they can to reopen the bridge. Coming up, we are living healthy, and hospitals are making the switch from handwritten notes to electronic with the hopes of cutting down on mistakes. And News Talk is coming up today. Attorney Julie Druzzi-Mosca will join us to take your legal questions, so get them ready. But first, a quick check of the weather with Bill Kardas.
Feeling very much like summer out there. High humidity, but some thunderstorms on the way to provide some relief. All the details coming up.
Now, Storm Tracker 2 weather with meteorologist Bill Kardas.
Well, we've seen the humidity come back up. It actually feels a lot more like the middle of July now, at least for today. A live look outside, dry for now. A cold front not that far away will provide for a drop in the humidity over the next 24 hours. And I'm tracking that front to the north and west. We look across the other side of the lake, and you can see some showers and storms. These ones in particular will miss us to the north, but what develops between the northern flank of this and towards Buffalo, we should see a line develop here as we head into the next several hours. And it's still, quite a ways away. It should start to impact us here for later this afternoon, say around after 4 is when we expect things to start to change. If you're heading to the New York State Fair today, partly sunny. Again, some afternoon thunderstorms, but it's still worth enjoying the weather outside if you like the warmer weather, because the thunderstorm threat is not going to last for all that long. It's only going to be a short period of some rainfall. Outside, this is a look at Norwich. A nice start to the afternoon. How about 82, our current temperature? Dew points up to 65. Sunshine out there. Beautiful afternoon across the state, at least for now. Syracuse 85. Rochester 84. Higher levels of humidity. The dew point in the mid-60s. That makes it feel humid out. Not oppressive, but humid. And we have a little bit of a heat index to contend with today. It actually feels like 84, and you factor in the air temperature and the humidity, close to 90 over in Syracuse. Radar and satellite picture, again, you can see the motion of how things are playing out to the west. That's where things are approaching us, along with that cold front, some showers and thunderstorms popping up. Notice that it's not a filled-in line here, so as this advances, I think we're going to get some scattered showers and storms. It's not going to be, not every single person today will be seeing rain, but I think many of us will. The afternoon, again, featuring those showers and thunderstorms. The air begins to dry out as we head into the evening. These showers and storms end by 7, 8 o'clock, so right around dusk is when the thunderstorm should move away from us. We dry out tonight, and tomorrow is looking fantastic. 7 a.m., nice and dry across the area. We stay dry throughout the afternoon. So again, your forecast today, we're going to see some sunshine still at 2 o'clock, but then the thunderstorms arrive here at 5. Temperatures in the low 80s. I'm not expecting severe weather, but it's a day where the risk isn't going to be 0%, so it's still possible. We'll keep an eye on things. Tonight we're down to 61. 7-day forecast. Beautiful weather heading into the weekend. Lots of sunshine Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We'll warm back up into the mid-80s on Tuesday and Wednesday with the next threat of some showers and storms. Coming up in about 10 to 15 minutes or so, we're going to talk about this dry spell that we're in the middle of.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Find out what the consequences possibly are.
Yeah, and how long it's been.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah. Stay tuned. 10 to 15 minutes with Bill. Meanwhile, in Living Healthy, a doctor's sloppy handwriting can have deadly consequences if a patient receives the wrong medication or too much of it. So instead of taking notes that can be tough for someone else to read, hospitals are turning to technology, as reporter Morgan Francis reports.
It's a criticism doctors have endured for a long time, the ridicule of having messy handwriting.
Everybody pretty much knows that a lot of our doctors don't have the best handwriting when it comes to when they're in a hurry and they're really trying to see their patient.
My handwriting's not bad. It's legible. It's not perfect, but it's legible.
Dr. Ibanez says Spahn South and other hospitals are no exception.
Every extra person that handles an order is an error, is a potential error.
In fact, the National Academies of Sciences Institute of Medicine conducted a study in 2006 that says doctors' sloppy handwriting killed more than 7,000 people a year.
To cut down on those errors, it's actually a Medicare mandate that all hospitals switch over to electronics so that you can read something like this on a computer screen a whole lot clearer.
The mandate requires hospitals to make the switch before October 2014 or face a 15% reduction in what Medicare pays the hospitals. But Spahn South is already there, trawling around their workstations on wheels. Doctors and nurses cut the chicken scratch right out of the equation.
I think that they're great. They've been really efficient in getting the job done. It's a lot better with the computer. Things seem to run faster.
Using a computerized physician order management system called Meditech, doctors cut out the middleman and enter the medical orders straight into the computer. The hospital has seen a 90% decrease in medical errors and expects to make a full transition to electronic devices in the next few months.
Some anniversaries to pass along to you now. A happy 31st anniversary to Bernie and Marion White of Ilion. They have 5 children, 10 grandchildren, and 11 great-grandchildren, pardon me. Kathy and Russ Munch of Frankfurt are celebrating their 15th anniversary today. They have 3 children and were married at St. Patrick's Church in Clayville. And a happy anniversary to Anthony and Kathy Nicotera of Sequoit. Now, if you have an anniversary coming up, we want to hear from you. You can mail, fax, or email your announcement to the locations on your screen. Just make sure to include the couple's name, the anniversary date, and a brief summary about their life together. And we'll tell you about local anniversaries every day here on News Channel 2 at noon. Welcome back to News Talk for this half hour. I misspoke earlier. Don Gerace is in for Julie today, taking your legal questions. 793-WKTV. If you've got a question about the law, Don's your man. 793-WKTV. We've got one caller on the line already. Hello, caller. You are on the air.
Oh, hello. You're doing a wonderful job, all of you. I have a question. There's a wooden fence from the neighbor. They power washed their inside in the front, but the side of the wall facing me is not clean. So what do I do?
There's not really much you can do about that. I guess you can ask your neighbor to have that power washed too. But if it's on their side of the property, unless it's in disrepair or it poses a danger, its condition as far as how it looks, there's not much you can really do about. You know, if it gets to a point where it's a complete eyesore, I guess you can contact codes where you live and the codes department and see whether or not there's some sort of local ordinance that requires it to be kept in a certain state of condition as far as painting or you know, stain or something of that nature. But generally, there's not a lot you can do about that.
Now, does she have the option, if she wanted to, either herself or to hire somebody to come in to clean that side of the fence?
Sure. If the neighbor indicates that that's okay, that they have no problem with that, but don't forget, it is your neighbor's property if it's on their side of the, you know, the line. So you need their permission in order to do that. But more than likely, they probably give you permission to do that just because it makes their property look better.
All right, let's take another call. 793-WKTV if you have a legal question for Don Gerace. Hello, caller, you are on the air.
Hi, I have a question regarding a will versus a probate. I am a widow. I have one son. I own my own house and my car. In my will, I have named him as the executor. I also have left the house to him. My question is it okay just to leave it as that for him in the will to get the house, or should I put the house in his name and my name? Right now I'm the only one on the deed to the house.
Well, if you do transfer the title to the house to himself and yourself, or just to him, and reserving a life estate or a life use, that would have basically then the real estate would bypass any probate process and bypass the will, because by operation of the deed itself, when you pass on, he would have title to the home and nothing else would be necessary. The way you have it right now, you would have to have the will probated after you pass on in order to have him appointed as executor of the estate so that he could transfer title to himself or you know, if he's going to sell the property to someone else. So it's really a question of which process you want to go through. If you have other items that are solely in your name, such as bank accounts, stocks and bonds, vehicles, it would be necessary to probate your will in any event, regardless of what you did with the real estate. But definitely, if the real estate was solely in your name, you'd have to probate the will after you pass on. And by transferring it now into his name, or you retaining a life use, you'll avoid having that particular asset have to go into probate in order to be transferred.
All right, 793 WKTV is the number to call if you've got a legal question for Don. Hello, caller, you are on the air.
Hello?
Hello, caller.
Hello, Don. My call is also related to probation of a will. I'm just wondering, what would be the average cost one would expect to pay for probation of a will? In this case, maybe when all the lawyers who made the original will will be dead and they have to have their signatures verified. What would be the average cost one would expect to pay for probation?
It's hard to estimate that. I can tell you that the statutory, maximum statutory fee allowable for attorney's fees with respect to an estate is 5% of the estate, an amount equal to that. That said, locally, our local surrogates court judge requires that an attorney prove whatever their bill is, if there's any contest with respect to the bill, and justify whatever the amount is based on hourly rates and the work that's done. As far as what the average cost would be, I really couldn't guess. It depends on the amount of work that has to be done for the estate with respect to not only how many people that may be affected by the probate of the will, in other words, the people that would take under it, called Dellecese, or beneficiaries, so to speak. It also depends on whether or not there has to be advertising with respect to the will, how easy it is to locate people that might be able to take property under the will. So I couldn't give you an actual estimate of the cost, but you know, generally you can figure an hourly rate charged by lawyers in this area that do that type of work, estate, you know, and trust work. And you know, as far as locating people, it depends on how hard it is to locate them and get the signatures that are necessary to allow for the probating of the will.
All right.
Okay.
793 WKTV. If you've got a question for Don, I think we can get in another caller. Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I'm trying to buy a home from a neighbor. She went in a nursing home, and she was in a nursing home for 8 months, and the county was starting to sell the house, and then she died. Now, the family is taking the house back. Is the nursing home still involved, or the county still involved at that point?
They may be if they have a lien that for whatever nursing home costs are still unpaid, if any. They may have a lien on whatever the proceeds are from the sale of the house. It may also be that the family has worked out, you know, a situation with the nursing home, you know, for whatever fees might be necessary to pay off the nursing home, so that's not an issue. If the estate is actually the entity that's selling the home, deal directly with the estate. Don't worry about the nursing home, because the estate will have to worry about the nursing home in order to clear title if there's anything that's owed.
All right, some good questions. Thank you to all our callers. Don, thank you for filling in for Julie today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave.
Coming up in our next half hour of News Talk, we're going to be sitting down with Dave Gordon to talk about the Francis J. Bellamy Community Awards Breakfast in Rome that is taking place next week. Also still ahead, we'll see how Wall Street is faring this afternoon. The Bloomberg Midday Report is coming up next. Time now for the Bloomberg Midday Report. For the latest, here's Bloomberg's Teal Jennings at the New York Stock Exchange.
Your back-to-school shopping include a trip to Abercrombie & Fitch. The teen clothing retailer is struggling getting customers through its doors. Abercrombie said sales at its stores open at least a year and through its websites fell 10% globally in the second quarter and 11% here in the U.S. On the other hand, GameStop is doing well. The video game store gained the most in 4 years after it raised its full-year profit forecast. The retailer is expecting big things when both Sony and Microsoft release their newest game consoles, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, later this year. In fact, just in time for the holidays. And the next time you go to the bank, you may have to park the car and walk on in. Bank of America says it's ending drive-up teller service in some locations. The reason, the Charlotte Observer says apparently too few people are using those convenient drive-up lanes. This is in part to increased online and mobile banking use. In New York, I'm Teal Jennings with the Bloomberg Midday Report.
The news continues now with Move-In Day. It is a big day for parents and their children. News Channel 2's Anna Myler is at the SUNY IT campus for the Move-In Day craze.
Hundreds of freshmen are moving into SUNY IT today. You can see the chaos control is on hand in the orange t-shirts, and parents and students say that they are so excited.
Excitement and nerves. Those are the feelings of a new beginning. The SUNY IT campus is all hustle and bustle today as students move in bins of belongings, leaving home and starting their college careers. There were plenty of helpers in orange shirts reading chaos control, and even the acting president of SUNY IT was on hand, lugging students' bins through the doors. He says this is the biggest freshman class yet, and it's an exciting day to be part of. For some parents, dropping off their last child at school and becoming an empty nester can be a hard step. And students say they're also feeling the same array of emotions, but are keeping advice in mind passed on to them from upperclassmen.
They said just be yourself and just do as best as you can, because it's you're supposed to, because it leads to a job eventually, one day, hopefully.
We've done it once before and it was hard, but this one is harder because he's the last one at home. So now we just have 3 Boston Terriers, but then now we'll spoil them.
Freshmen got to move in a little bit earlier than the rest of the students so that they have time to settle in and get to know each other before classes start on Monday. In Marcy, Anna Myler, News Channel 2.
Thanks, Anna. Now a recap of the top stories we're following for you today. President Barack Obama is launching a 2-day bus tour through New York and Pennsylvania to promote proposals for making college more affordable. This is footage of him speaking at the University of Buffalo just a little while ago. From Buffalo, the president will head to Syracuse with a stop at Henniger High School. Anna Myler is headed out to Syracuse as well, and she'll have full coverage with live reports in the Live at 5 News Hour and News Channel 2 at 6. An Oneida County court judge has ruled that Jack the Sheltie dog will not be put to death after all. A New Hartford Town Court justice ordered the dog put to death in April after the animal bit its owner's 2-year-old granddaughter in the face. Oneida County Court Judge Michael Dwyer has ruled that the dog instead will be sent to live with new owners, never again to be exposed to children under the age of 12. People living on the dead-end street on Utica's west side say they are sick of the recent violence at night. One homeowner has even installed surveillance cameras. Dorothy Barker says the violence is out of control on Brayton Park Place. Barker says neighbors constantly call the police, and the police are constantly responding. Police say they'll continue to respond when needed, but a long-term solution will take some time. Time now for a first look at the weather in this half hour. Once again, here's meteorologist Bill Kardas. Good afternoon, Bill.
Good afternoon, Dave. You know, we've had a lot of rain the first half of the summer, but the second half has been quietly quiet. In fact, we're talking about a dry spell we're in the middle of, 8 days in a row since we've had any measurable rain, and less than an inch of rain so far in August. So today's going to kind of change, or at least change the direction of that narrative, as we do expect to see some wet weather here this afternoon. Taking a live look outside, seeing some first stages of convection. A little bit of some shower activity developing up towards Old Forge and also north and west of Camden. This may be the beginning stage of a line that's trying to form, although the main line itself is much further to the west with the cold front. It's going to be turning more unsettled as we head into the afternoon. Our best chance of rain, though, won't happen until about 4 to 6 p.m. for the majority of us. This is a look at Hamilton College. We're starting to see some cloud cover take shape. 82 degrees the current temperature. It's warm out there, and it's also humid. Your forecast for today, the risk for showers and storms this afternoon. Temperatures in the mid-80s. We'll have a look at the 7-day forecast coming up. Dave, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Saturday Night Live is in for some big changes. You'll be seeing some new faces when the new season kicks off next month. Mike Wilbur takes a look at what's in store for the late-night comedy show.
It's always good to have an idol in the house.
But SNL seems to have a superstar shortage these days after some of its biggest stars have moved on.
In the past year, we've seen a lot of departures. Obviously, Kristen Wiig left, Andy Samberg left, Bill Hader, Fred Armisen, Jason Sudeikis.
What was it that makes it the timing now for you?
It was just a tremendous opportunity to be there 10 years, and a lot of my friends, you know, were all sort of, you know, waning down. And I believe in letting the new people, giving them, you know, run of it.
The grueling schedule and long hours could help explain the other stars' departures.
It hurts to pull away, to leave, but it also is really, really intense, and it wears you down. And I think when you reach a moment where you feel like you're too tired, it's time for you to move on.
In its 38-year history, the NBC show has been known for turning unknowns into household names. And as E's Kristen Dos Santos thinks, this coming season may be a perfect opportunity to create some new stars.
The longest running cast member at this point after all the departures is going to be Kenan Thompson. He's not all that well known. They definitely need to shore up the B players they've had, and I think Taran Killam has a lot of potential. He's really sort of a star in the making. Bobby Moynihan and Jay Farrow are pretty solid players, but I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of them in the coming year.
Mike Wilbur, NBC News.
Still ahead this half hour, our News Talk guest is Dave Gordon, here to talk about next week's Francis J. Bellamy Awards breakfast in the city of Rome. But first, a look at last night's winning lottery numbers, the daily numbers, 538, the win 4, 5906, and the take 5, 13, 14, 17, 27, and 31. Good luck.
Now, Storm Tracker 2 weather with meteorologist Bill Kardas.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. We have some showers and some thunderstorms that are and in some cases will be developing here as we head into the afternoon. A live look at the Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Over the past half an hour, a couple of very small showers have been popping up towards and north of Old Forge into the heart of the Adirondacks up near Tupper Lake as well. And also a lone shower in the northwestern corner of Oneida County. This isn't the main show, but some areas north of the New York State Thruway could see a brief shower before the actual cold front arrives. The front itself is out towards Buffalo and Rochester, and so far there's not a lot of activity with it. I think this is going to be one of those scenarios where the line is going to develop as the front approaches us here. So later this afternoon, be on the lookout for very quickly changing weather conditions and keep an eye to the sky as we move forward. Outside in Hamilton College, you've got a couple of clouds out there, but overall a pretty nice start to the afternoon. It is warm out there, already up to 82 at noon. That's the warmest we've been all week, at least at this time. The dew point's at 65, so we do have a bit of a heat index. It feels warmer than the actual temperature suggests. Here's a look at some of your sky watchers. 85 in Herkimer, Curtis Corners at 78, Lake Pleasant at 80 degrees. As you look at conditions across the state, lower 80s in Utica, Syracuse already up to 85. A little bit cooler in Poughkeepsie. High humidity this afternoon. And again, the heat index will probably climb a few more degrees before these showers and storms arrive. Let's take a look at the radar. Over the past 6 hours, there is the advancing cold front. And again, notice there's not a lot of organization to the west in terms of rainfall. However, as this thing moves into more humid weather, I am expecting to see more showers and storms popping up, and they are going to be scattered. It's not going to be a line forming, so not every single person gets wet, but again, a lot of us will. Noon until 5 p.m., the threat for thunderstorms in the forecast. Some briefly heavy rain, maybe even some gusty winds here later today, too. Once the front passes through, the rain shuts off, so around dusk, the threat for rain goes away, and the air dries out as we head towards Friday morning. Looks very nice here Friday afternoon. So again, we'll be dodging some showers here over the next couple of hours, but our best chance of rain will be during the afternoon, between about 4 to 5 p.m. Temperatures in the lower 80s. Low 60s tonight, mild, not quite as muggy as last night. Big change in the humidity starting tomorrow. 76 for the high, partly sunny. A very nice looking weekend up ahead. Lots of sunshine Saturday and Sunday. Monday looking dry as well. And look at that, another surge of summer-like weather, temperatures in the mid-80s on Tuesday and Wednesday. Stay back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Bill. Coming up, News Talk, and our guest is Dave Gordon, here to talk about next week's Francis J. Bellamy Community Awards breakfast in the city of Rome. Also coming up, Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If someone asked you if you'd like a cup of mud, what would you say? I'd say yes. And today, I'll tell you why. I'll have the eggs this time. Right. As our week-long salute to diners continues, I thought it'd be fun to share with you a bit of diner lingo that I picked up. You see, cooks, waiters, and dishwashers, or as they're often called, bubble dancers, have their own language. For example, you may order 2 poached eggs on toast, but the waiter shouts out, Adam and Eve on a raft, and the cook knows exactly what they need. And once your order is up, instead of asking for salt and pepper, the proper term would be Mike and Ike. And what's breakfast without a cup of mud? I mean coffee. If you want coffee with cream and sugar, you better ask for a hot blonde in sand. With all the options there are for breakfast, my all-time diner favorite has to be blowout patches with motor oil. I meant pancakes drizzled with syrup. And speaking of pancakes, our test kitchen just created a new twist on pancakes that takes breakfast to a whole new level. It combines the richness of cream cheese with the sweetness of blueberries for over-the-top pancakes that are so good, they don't need a funny diner name. Just go online and get a recipe for blueberry cream cheese pancakes so you can be a breakfast hero and bring your family back to the table. I'm Howard from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where every day we're looking for an easier way for you to say, in diner lingo, ooh, it's so good.
Welcome back to News Talk for this half hour. Dave Gordon is joining me to talk about the Francis J. Bellamy Community Awards Breakfast, which is taking place next week in Rome. Thank you.
That's right. Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. Now, next Wednesday morning is the event itself. Tell us a little bit about Francis J. Bellamy and how this awards came about.
Francis J. Bellamy, you may or may not know, but he wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, and he was synonymous in the community of Rome for being a true patriot. And, you know, throughout his life, he dedicated himself towards being involved in the community. And this is just a great way to honor a memory of Francis J. Bellamy while honoring those who, in the present time, are also serving their community. Francis Bellamy wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, and at the time when he wrote it, it was written for a children's magazine several years back, and people don't realize the historical significance behind that when, as you may remember in school, we did the Pledge of Allegiance in the morning. There was a lot of significance behind that. And Francis J. Bellamy, again, he's buried in the Rome Cemetery in Rome. And he continues to be an icon for patriotism across the country.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that somebody who has had such an impact on our daily lives and just our country itself is right here in our own backyard.
Yeah, it's a true testament to what historical value we have here with the people that have cultivated this area. And again, he's you know, set the bar for our area.
Are you at liberty to say who's going to be honored at the breakfast, or is that something people have to show up to?
No, they do know. It's Ava Dorfman, whose no other name is more synonymous for helping seniors. She started the Rome Senior Citizens Council back in 1954. So she's been doing this for a long time. And in 1971, the Ava Dorfman Senior Center came to fruition. And it's been in existence ever since. In fact, David Dorfman this coming Friday is coming back from a senior bus trip out in Canada. So she's really cultivated a relationship with seniors, which is an important aspect to our community as the population ages. And then Charles Sprock, who was instrumental in starting the Rome Savings Bank Community Charitable Foundation. And he was with Rome Savings Bank for 50 years. Wow. You know, the Rome Savings Bank Charitable Foundation is one that has donated money to nonprofit organizations for several years, such as the Red Cross, the YMCA, even the Jervis Library. So these two individuals have really stood out in Rome, and that's why they're part of our first annual Francis J. Bellamy Community Awards.
So this is obviously an event that you're hoping can carry on from years forward. Now, will you, as time goes on, will you take nominations from the community? Will it be a committee involved with this breakfast that will determine?
That's a great question. You know, that's something that we've been talking about. Obviously, we're in our first year, and the committee has talked about ways of criteria that people should meet for that. And again, we felt that Ava Dorfman and Charles Sprock were the perfect examples of people that fit the criteria for this breakfast. But we will be reaching out, I think, in the future to the community. We have several people on our committee that are from Rome, and you know, they have a pretty good understanding about who these people are, and we'll continue to find people that exemplify that type of patriotism that Francis J. Bellamy did.
Now, is there criteria within the restriction of the Rome area or Oneida County? Or?
It's a great question that you asked that, because I spoke with our chairman prior to coming on the show, and I said, what are we going to do in the future? And again, that's still up for discussion. So it's something we're going to be discussing, because we do have a very generous community across the Mohawk Valley, and so we recognize the fact that there's more people outside the city of Rome, and it's, again, open for discussion.
Now, the details, I believe we have a graphic to show our viewers of the breakfast itself. It is at the Beaches in Rome. $25 per person. It's on August 28th at 8 a.m. I know you folks have been gracious enough to ask me to be the master of ceremonies that morning, so I will be handling those obligations. And to get tickets to the event, $25 a person. You can call 527-2138 or BellamyTickets@yahoo.com if you're interested. The Beaches will be putting out a breakfast spread
Yes, it's going to be a very, very nice breakfast. We have some really great dignitaries coming. We have Assemblyman Anthony Brindisi will be there, and he'll be giving, you know, the information as well as you being the master of ceremonies. You know, we've got Pastor Cedric Broughton from the First Baptist Church in Rome, which is also known as the Bellamy Church. Yeah. It's where Francis J. Bellamy's father was a minister for several years. So we've got some really great people from the community, from the banking industry, from the senior center, and just individuals that really want to be a part of this event. So it's really going to be a nice event.
Excellent. So come on down on August 28th and come join in the breakfast. Dave, thank you so much.
Thank
Dave
you.
Gordon,
Thank you very much, Dave.
We'll be back right after the break. Taking a look what the team is working on for 5 and 6 tonight. First, on the Live at 5 News Hour, the president is in central New York. Find out what his visit to Syracuse is all about. Then News Channel 2 at 6, new photos of the scars left behind by Jack Dellecese. Now your news to go, the news and weather information you need to continue on with your day. As we mentioned, Jack Dellecese dog had his life spared by an Anne County court judge this morning who ruled that Jack will not be put to death after all. A New Hartford Town Court justice ordered the dog be put to death in April after the animal bit its owner's 2-year-old granddaughter in the face. Anne County Court Judge Michael Dwyer has ruled that the dog instead will be sent to live with new owners, never again to be exposed to children under the age of 12. A local teacher has been charged and accused of having an inappropriate sexual relationship with a former student. According to Village of Frankfort Police, Michael Liacano, a 7th grade English teacher at Frankfort Schuyler Central School, is now charged with forcible touching and endangering the welfare of a child. Police say that the child was under the age of 17. The school superintendent says that the teacher is currently on leave from his position. Superintendent Robert Rena released the following statement, quote, "We do not have any information that would indicate that any other current or former students are involved in the matter. The district has not yet been provided with all of the specifics of the criminal charges and cannot comment further at this time," end quote. You can find the full statement on our website. And the president is in town. News Channel 2's Anna Myler is headed to Syracuse to hear him speak, and we'll have a full report coming up at 5 and at 6.
And I'm meteorologist Bill Kardas. Your weather to go forecast: thunderstorms this afternoon, temperatures in the mid-80s. We dry out and we'll turn a lot less humid as we head into the weekend.
All right, thank you very much, Bill. That'll do it for us. Have a great day.